Martin.
So I'm having two music stands here, but it's just one song. I just don't want to fiddle around with moving lyrics. I have to have one confession to do. I've been in science for more than 30 years now. And, well, first of all, the conference has been great. You're putting the bars high for burden. And the conference dinner was on the better side yet last night. I've seen some conference dinner, and this was a really good one. Anyway, the confession was more about, like, in stark contrast to Jess Atkins, there was more than one thing I didn't get from Andy's talk. But I enjoyed it a lot. So the song I will play, it's, you might think you know it, because it sounds a bit like something that Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show did in '72. There's only a few people in the audience who are old enough to know that.
Sylvia's mother.
What's that? Somebody's there? Good. You could sing along. And whatever it says, the song basically goes, it was about Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. They wanted to be famous and they never got anywhere really. And they did a song on the cover of the Rolling Stone, which is the science or nature of the music industry, of the rock singers, I say it, and goes on the cover of the Rolling Stone. And they actually got a cover on the Rolling Stone. After doing this song, they got very famous with it. But it has just been unearthed that this song is actually not written by Shel Silverstein. And it was just a fake thing. It was a cheap copy. And the original has been Mick Jagger in his wild years. Sometimes in the 70s, like early 70s, like 5 years before he gave us like 100 kiloliter cycles and stamp-sized frequency analysis plots. And this is the second confession I have to do. I'm a Foo Fighter. I actually don't know the Foo Fighters really. I'm not going to play a song by the Foo Fighters, I'm just going to play one song. But Foo stands for Friends of Obliquity. So I hate 100 kiloliter cycles. You might find out, hopefully. So, I was singing that song and the chorus always goes, originally went on the cover of the Rolling Stone, but it's actually on the cover of the Science Mag. Okay? It's not Science, it's Science Mag, goes better. And I don't know if Mike is in the audience, but sorry, nature doesn't rhyme with anything. So it's not about the quality of the paper. I really appreciate it, I really love to read it, but is Michael here? You might want to apply another time, or maybe for another song that fits better, like phonetically. I always wanted to say. There's nothing against you, it's just that Science Mag rhymes better with all kinds of things. Nature only rhymes with major or with not mature. And major, most people of us connect more than with major concerns or major revisions. We don't like to hear that. Well, we big mud readers, we got dirty fingers. We love that ocean floor. We use winches and ropes and do boron isotopes. About 10,000 samples to core. We use all kind of drills, give us all kind of thrills. Get cores for a giant red. We have one of them in Bremen. It's huge. Eventually somebody does something with it. But we never felt the glory just to see our story on the cover of the Science Mag. Science, not now you gotta go science, man, you gotta go really crazy. And later in the song, Nick is gonna help me show so you know what you gotta sing, because we will end up going down the impact factor. Okay. So science mag, wanna see my paper on the cover of the mag, gonna buy 5 copies for my mother. Wanna see my latest book on the cover of the Science Man. I got a freaky young lady with her eyes so shady, who would scan every chord just for me. I got the genius lab technician running my ICP. No mod is too obnoxious if it gives us some proxies, but those proxies turn out in the end. If you do hold it caper, but you can't get your paper on the cover of the Science Man. Science Man, see my paper on the cover. Wanna buy 5 copies for my mother. Science, wanna play my latest book on the cover of the Science Man. This is now the brain part. We do 3 reviews and got plenty to use for all the data you could possibly store. And whatever we gain goes to public domain, every data point from every core. We've been on tens of cruises, little sleep but bruises, been on joyous every second leg. And we include some smart-ass buddies, so we get our studies on the cover of the Science Man. Science Man, see my paper on the cover. Wanna buy 5 copies for my mother. See my latest book on the cover of the Science Man. That was the nasty one. We got loads of willing psychophone students who would do anything that we say. We got a genuine paleo guru to call them up and pave our way. We got all the machines that money can buy, spitting data without no lag. We got the power and the glory, but we can't get our story on the cover of the Science Man. Science Man, wanna see my paper on the cover of the mag. Wanna buy 5 copies for my mother's Science. Wanna do my latest work on the cover of the Science Man. We've got the super rare core nobody got before, worth a few middle-class cars. We done in-step studies with all of our buddies, and we even did error bars. We spent all those years using all of our gears and then submit but what the heck. It turns out the editor just put your competitor on the cover of the Science. So here, normally in Dr. Hook in the medicine show, they would put some crazy guitar solo in it, which fits quite well in this one. We leave that out, so we just go for the last verse. So you start complaining now. So I went to all those weird old places just to find some traces of thorium and stalactite. You didn't care if it's safe to enter that cave, working on day and night. The conclusions were perfect, but if reviewers reject, you don't really want to complain. So if concerns were major, you just submit to nature and now Nick comes in. I think you have to come on stage for nobody. So now it goes down and come here where there's some light. We need some light. We need some light in it. So it's gonna be nature, wanna see my picture on the cover, not mature. Wanna buy 5 copies from my mother's NGS. See my latest book on the cover of Science Advance. nature crumble on the cement paper on the cover of the class. Copies from my mother geology. Ladies firm on the cover of the EPS. Scientific reports on the cement paper on the cover of the USA. Copies from my mother GRL. We're not done. Climate off the past, paper on the cover, GPC. 5 copies for my mother, maybe BG3. Latest car somewhere in marine geology. And now we're fading out. It's all too late. On a cement paper, put it in research again. And yes, I will somehow. And yes, I will give the lyrics to the organizer. Public domain. Today, you heard it all, it's by me, so. And sorry, Ellen, it's paleoceanography and paleoclimatology. Also, just doesn't rhyme with anything.